You guys know that I love my checkboxes, but in my last video on checkboxes, I didn't mention this cool trick where you can sync two boxes together. So let's jump right in. Now you can see that we have two checkboxes. When one is ticked, the other one is not, but we want to synchronize these. So let's head up to Extensions and then App Script. Once that loads, we can select everything and paste in the script here. Now the spreadsheet is down in the description below, so feel free to head there and you'll have access to the script. Now, if you're not familiar with Google Apps Scripts, don't worry about that because I will step you through that bit by bit. So let's jump right in. So back here, we'll click on Save, head back to our spreadsheet and then click B3. We can see that automatically updates D3. If we untick this, D3 is also unticked. Do the other one. And you can see that these two checkboxes are now synchronized. Now, of course, this is a special case where my checkboxes are in B3 and D3. So what do we need to change if your checkboxes are somewhere else? So back to our Google Apps Script, let's just run through this. We can see that this is an onEdit function. Now, onEdit is a special function within Google Apps Script that allows us to do something when something else happens. You can see we have an E in here. This E stands for event. So when an event happens, then we're going to run this script. So when you're using your script, don't change this first top part because this is a special function that will make it work. Our first section here is just naming things. We've got our range, our sheet, our row, and our column. Our next part is our exclusion. So the bits that we don't want to run. So in here, the first part says that if we're not in sheet 1, then do nothing. If we're not in row 3, do nothing. If we're not in columns 2 or 4, that's columns B or D, then again, do nothing. So let's just change this to see how this might work for your scenario. We'll go back to our spreadsheet and we'll change this a little bit. So let's say that our checkboxes are in column A. Let's just chuck a whole bunch in there. And we'll do the same thing in sheet 2. We're going to synchronize these two sheets. So back in our Google Apps Script, we'll say if the sheet name is not sheet 1, but also not sheet 2, so just copy and paste this over here, add in a sheet 2. I just want to end it with a bracket and we need to put a bracket at the start as well. So if we're not in either of these sheets, then don't run. Next up, if the row is not row 3. Now in this case, I don't care what row we're in because we're just going to keep on putting new rows. So let's just delete this entirely. And lastly, if the column is not correct. So our column is column 1. We'll get rid of that. Change this to a 1 and get rid of this part as well. Now for the next part, we need to add a little bit and then change a little bit. So we're no longer getting the values of the cells B3 and D3. So it's now just going to be the values of the cells. And first off, we need to get the spreadsheets. So we'll say var sheet 1 equals spreadsheet app dot get active spreadsheet. Oops, get active spreadsheet. Dot get sheet by name, and the name of our spreadsheet is sheet 1. We'll just copy and paste that down, but this time it's going to be sheet 2 and then sheet 2 at the end. This part here, we're going to have to change the variable names and where we're finding them. So the value of B3 is now just going to be the value of 1 and then value 2 for the next one. In our get range, we don't care which row we're in. So we'll delete that and call it row, and it's in column 1. Same with the second one. This one here is actually going to be sheet 1 and this one's going to be sheet 2. We'll change this 3 to a row and this column to a 1. And now we do our synchronization. So before it was if column equals 2. That was column B. But in this case, we're going to say if we're working on sheet 1. So let's change this to if sheet1.getName equals sheet 1. And the column equals 1, and the value 1 is not equal to value 2, then we're going to say sheet2.getRange for our row, and we're going to set that to the value of 1. We'll do the exact opposite for our else if here, and I think it's just best to copy and paste it down. So if sheet2.getName is sheet 2, and we're in column 1, and the value of 2 is not equal to the value of 1, then sheet1.getRange should be set to the value of value 2. We'll save that, it looks like we have a syntax error in line 28. We just need to put a curly bracket right at the end, press save, and then head back to our spreadsheet. Now, if we click on, let's say A5, let's click that one, and then head over to sheet 2, we can see that A5 is selected there. If we click on A11, then over in sheet 1, nothing happens. That's interesting. Let's go to A13, click that one, and then over in sheet 2, A13 is now clicked. So we've got a problem here in sheet 2, A11. Let's just click that, and it undoes itself. So let's head back to our project. And I probably messed something up here. So we should be looking in here somewhere. If sheet 2, oops, that shouldn't be if sheet 2, that should be if sheet.getName. Let's save that, and let's get rid of this as well. That's not sheet 1, that should be just sheet. Save it, and let's try that again. So let's click on A10 in sheet 2, and we'll head back to sheet 1, and we can see it's now ticked. Untick it, and it's now unticked in sheet 2. Now let's see a more advanced version of this where we can relate multiple checkboxes to a single box and vice versa. So over here in our second sheet, we have here the building IDs, last maintenance, and maintenance required. And down here, we've got buildings 1 and 2. I'm just going to change the names of these. And we've got the master building list. So here's how it works. If we click on both of these, now over in our master building list, this should be ticked. And also, if we tick this one, then both of these should be ticked. So let's go grab our app script, paste it into our app script module, and watch the magic happen. So we're in Google App Script. We'll select everything and paste in this script here. Again, you can find this spreadsheet down in the description below. And you can see it's a little bit more complex this time. So the way it works is if we tick this, then it's going to search for building 001 and then look down here for building 001. Now it's not working just yet because I didn't save this. So let's head back here. We'll click on save. And now if we tick this, we can see that both of these are ticked. If we untick these, then we can see this is now not ticked. If we go with building 002, we'll tick that one and head over here. And you can see they're both now ticked. Let's untick those. And this is unticked. That went a little bit fast. So let's now tick both of these. And we can see back in our master, this is now ticked. If we tick this one automatically gets ticked. So now we have two-way relations for our checkboxes that can match up tab names. Pretty cool example. Again, if this is the example you want, head down to the description where you can find this spreadsheet. If not, feel free to ask a question down in the comments. Make sure you like this video, and I'll see you next time.